I'm Kurtop, and these are 100 archaeological discoveries that no one can explain to this day. Mysterious objects that are 130,000 years old. Archaeological discoveries in the Aracy area, Racibórz in Poland, have shed light on the activities of Neanderthals more than 130,000 years ago. For 2 years, an international team of specialists, including specialists from Wrocław and Silesian universities, as well as the Czech Academy of Sciences, conducted research, planning to study the geological structure of the area. Professor Andrzej Wiśniewski noted that the discovery of stone tools was an unexpected gift. Artifacts found 10 meters underground, which were in deposits formed during the last glacial period, demonstrate that Neanderthals visited this area and left traces of their presence here. Archaeologists emphasize the uniqueness of some tools that have double-sided, asymmetrical cutting edges, resembling modern wide-bladed knives. These tools were possibly used for special tasks such as butchering game. Similar items are rarely found at other ancient sites north of the Carpathians and the Alps. A shocking discovery by miners. Sometimes miners come across unusual artifacts that can surprise even archaeologists. In 2008, an unusual discovery was made at a depth of 900 meters in the Zapadnaya mine in Donetsk-Rostov region. In sandstones dating back to the Carboniferous period, 360 to 300 million years ago, a wheel imprint was found. The mining foreman Kasatkin, who worked in the mine, shared photographs of the find. According to him, management at the mine, which was classified as dangerous because of the risk of sudden coal and gas outbursts, banned any investigation of the object and ordered the work to be sped up. As a result, another smaller print, which was discovered later, was not extracted for study. Kasatkin claimed that other amazing discoveries were found in the mine, which was closed in 2009 and flooded, including prints of giant snakes and possibly winged lizards. He also mentioned other unusual finds in coal mines around the world, including a wall made of stone blocks and hieroglyphs. These stories, despite how fantastic they sound, make us think about the possibility of ancient civilizations that we still don't know about. Such discoveries can open new horizons for archaeology and history, although mainstream science often ignores this kind of evidence, considering it just miners' tales. What do you think? Could these mysterious findings really be evidence of ancient civilizations, or are they just coincidences? Write your opinion in the comments. The chained oak. One of the most famous curses in English history is the legend of the chained oak. According to the story, one dark autumn night in the 19th century, the Earl of Shrewsbury was traveling in his horse-drawn carriage along the old forest road to his ancestral home, to his estate at Alton Towers, Staffordshire, when suddenly the carriage came upon an elderly woman standing in the middle of the road. The lady asked the Earl for money, but he cruelly rejected her, refused to help, and demanded that she get off the road. Then the woman cursed the Earl and his family, saying that with every branch that fell from the famous old oak tree on their estate, a member of his family would die. The curse came true just a few hours later when one of the Earl's family members suddenly died, shortly after a night storm broke a branch off the oak tree. This convinced the Earl of the reality and power of the curse. He ordered his servants to chain the branches of the tree so they wouldn't fall. To this day, the old venerable oak remains in its old rusty chains. New petroglyphs in Colorado. Archaeologists from Poland have discovered ancient indigenous paintings and reliefs on the border of Colorado and Utah in the United States. This team, which has been working for more than 10 years, studies the 3,000-year-old Pueblo culture. The research is being conducted at the Castle Rock Pueblo complex on the Mesa Verde Plateau. This place is popular among archaeologists and tourists because of the ancient settlements and rock art created by representatives of the Pueblo culture. The agricultural Pueblo communities developed one of the most advanced pre-Columbian cultures in North America, including the construction of multi-story stone houses and rock art. The team discovered previously unknown galleries and petroglyphs dating back to different historical periods. The oldest of them, depicting warriors and shamans, date back to the 3rd century AD. Most of the petroglyphs date back to the 12th and 13th centuries and include images of shamans, warriors, animals, and hunting scenes. In the 15th to 17th centuries, when the territory was inhabited by the Ute tribe, hunting scenes appeared on the panels. In later centuries, images of horses appeared reflecting the Spanish conquest. Research in the ravine led to the discovery of unknown petroglyphs at an altitude of 800 meters above the cliff settlements, which were used for astronomical purposes. In the 13th century, a lost fragment of a Bible translation. Austrian scholars made a remarkable discovery in the Vatican Library, a new chapter of the Bible in a translation of the Gospel of Matthew, dated to the year 1750. The text, invisible to the naked eye, was discovered thanks to the use of ultraviolet photography. This discovery became part of a research project aimed at restoring text in erased or rewritten scriptures. Scriptures from the 4th to the 12th centuries. AD manuscripts of this kind, called palimpsests, were created by reusing already used material. This was due to a shortage of writing materials. With the help of ultraviolet light, it was possible to reveal the lost texts. Among the 74 restored manuscripts, there was one especially valuable ancient version of the Bible, which is 100 years older than the earliest Greek translations, including the Codex Sinaiticus. The new text supplements the well-known verse about how Jesus' disciples plucked the ears of grain, and adds that they rubbed them in their hands and ate. This discovery is an important contribution to the understanding of ancient Syriac texts and the study of ancient writing. Underground rituals. In the depths of the mountainous region of central Anatolia lies the ancient underground city of Ursini. According to legends based on local traditions, Ursini was carved into the rocks as far back as the time of the Gedic kingdom, around 800 BC. The city was intended to protect against enemy invasions and bad weather. Ursini extends 4 levels deep into the ground, including residential quarters, public squares, and even a small underground temple. A unique ventilation system consisting of long, narrow channels provided a supply of fresh air. In addition, the city had wells for water extraction and places for food storage. The most mysterious part of Ursini is the Hall of Shadows, where, according to legend, mysterious rituals were performed. The walls of the hall are decorated with intricate reliefs depicting mythical creatures and symbols, the meaning of which remains unknown to this day. Historians believe that Ursini might have been used as a temporary shelter during times of war or natural disasters, but some studies suggest that the city might have been a permanent residence for a special segment of the population. The skull from the quarry. The next incredible story is about the famous Piltdown Man. We are going back to 1912 to the small village of Piltdown in England. In a gravel quarry, they found the bones of an ancient human who lived more than 500,000 years ago. But not just any human. This skull looked like a mix between an ape and a human, as if it were the missing link in evolution. Archaeologists, including the famous Charles Dawson, were thrilled. They even named the find after him, Eoanthropus dawsoni. More bones and a canine tooth, which definitely belonged to this ancient human, were also found in the quarry. The Piltdown Man became a celebrity. He was considered an ancestor of modern humans. However, in 1953, the truth came out. It was all a hoax. The skull was stained and made to look ancient, and the jaw belonged to an orangutan. Even the canine tooth was painted. Many suspect Dawson himself of creating this forgery. There are other suspects as well, including the famous writer Arthur Conan Doyle, but the mystery remains unsolved. The Piltdown Man became one of the most notorious archaeological hoaxes. As you can see, even scientists can be deceived. Do you believe this story? Where did the ancient Egyptians get their gods from? Ancient Egypt continues to fascinate scientists with its mysteries. One of them is the land of Punt. Unlike the mythical Atlantis and Agartha, Punt was a real place located somewhere in East Africa. The Egyptians sent trade expeditions there, bringing back culture from Punt, goods that one could only dream of: precious trees, gold, ivory, and aromatic resins. The first mention of Punt dates back to the 26th century BC during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. Expeditions continued for centuries, bringing immense wealth to Egypt. An important milestone was the construction of a canal connecting the Nile and the Red Sea during the reign of Pharaoh Senusret III, which made the route to Punt easier. The exact location of Punt is still a subject of debate among scholars. There is a theory that it was located in the area of present-day Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, and Sudan, and it might have included territories as far as South Africa. Some researchers believe that Egyptian sailors might have even reached the Cape of Good Hope. Egyptian culture preserved legends of Punt as the homeland of the gods and Egyptian ancestors. The last recorded expedition there was during Pharaoh Ramesses III's reign. After that, journeys to the land of riches ceased, and Punt gradually turned into a legend. Today, archaeological research into Punt is complicated by the political situation in the region, making it one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. The relationship between Egypt and Punt, as far as we know, always remained peaceful, which is a unique fact in the history of interactions between ancient civilizations. The legacy of Punt still lives on in the name of the autonomous region of Somalia, Puntland. Faceless woman's skeleton. In Germany, archaeologists have discovered a mysterious 9th century burial. The man lay intact, but his wife's facial bones were missing, and no burial items were found next to her. The excavation took place near Eisleben, at the site where the royal palace of Helfta once stood. The woman was 1.55 meters tall, but her skeleton had a defect. Her face was hollowed out. The man apparently held an important position. He may have been a high-ranking official or a military man, as indicated by the items found with him: a knife, a belt, and part of an officer's insignia. At the same time, no accessories were found with the woman, which was especially interesting to the researchers. Felix Berman from Saxony-Anhalt suggested that the woman might have been a Christian, while her husband still adhered to pagan traditions. This could explain the absence of burial items, as the Christian tradition rejected earthly ornaments after death. The Petrified Book. Archaeologists from Australia stumbled upon mysterious artifacts resembling a book, which is estimated to be over 330 million years old. Yes, I know that not everyone likes it when I talk about thousands and millions of years. That's why such a discovery sparked a lot of debates and speculation among scientists. Thomas Kaminsky, an antiquities researcher, claims that they found a mineralized book with a metal binding, but it's already impossible to read it. Professor of archaeology Jane Baum was also amazed by the find, although she expressed doubts about its antiquity. Other experts are surprised at how the pages of the book have been preserved for millions of years. Professor of geology Ian Plimer explains that under certain conditions, in an oxygen-free environment and under pressure, paper can become fossilized. Kaminsky believes that the depth at which the book was found indicates its authenticity. Nevertheless, the question remains as to why the book looks like a modern copy. Could this be an artifact left by a time traveler? The tomb of Kharkov. Kharkov, the famous Egyptian traveler of the 6th dynasty, also followed the trend of leaving curses in tombs. In his final resting place, he left an extensive inscription in which he spoke about his travels and his knowledge of the afterlife. But along with this, he included a strict warning in the inscription for anyone who would dare to disturb his eternal rest. The curse goes like this: I will seize you like a wild bird and bring you to judgment, and you will be condemned by the greatest God. To a modern person, such words may not seem very frightening, but for the ancient Egyptians, this was a real curse that was better not to mess with. In the era of the pyramids, being cursed by the great god was considered one of the most terrifying curses. The deepest borehole. In China, they want to reach rocks from the Cretaceous period, which are 140 million years old. The ambitious goal is to drill through 10 layers of earth and reach a depth of 11,000 meters, which will become a national record. The work started in May of this year. While Russia wants to resume work on the Kola Super Deep borehole, China is already actively drilling. Let me remind you that the Soviet Kola borehole project, although it was not completed, made an important scientific discovery and planned to drill the Earth to a depth of more than 15,000 meters. Work on the Kola Peninsula began in 1970 and continued for 2 decades. At a depth of 7 kilometers, the team had to deal with difficulties, layered rocks would get stuck in the equipment. Despite this, they managed to reach the final depth of 12,226 meters, but in 1990, the project had to be shut down due to an unknown explosion. Now, China is aiming to continue exploring the Earth's interior and plans to use its new borehole to study earthquakes and analyze how they occur. Another goal of the project is to gain a deeper understanding of the Earth's internal structure and its evolution. This opens up new opportunities for developing technologies and solutions that can be applied in various industries. Let's hope that China, with its modern technologies, will be able to find something interesting for the world of archaeology as well. A couple from the United States with a strange story. In 1875, in the center of Philadelphia, at an old cemetery, workers discovered the mummified bodies of a man and a woman who were presumed to have died in 1792. Although this information was later disproved, no records of the Ellenbogen family or any other documents confirming their existence were ever found. The bodies underwent a process called saponification, turning into soap mummies due to the specific burial conditions, where fat was transformed into a soapy substance, which slowed down decomposition. The man, who was more saponified compared to the woman, and the woman with remnants of light hair on her head, are believed to have died at a later date than was originally thought. This was confirmed by the discovery of pins with round heads, which could only be made starting in 1824. The man likely did physical labor. He had healthy bones, but degenerative changes were occurring in his cervical spine. Both preserved their internal organs, but the man had poor oral hygiene, which caused most of his teeth to fall out during his lifetime. The woman died at about 30 years old. She had health problems, including stones in her ureter and gallbladder, as well as vascular calcification. The soap lady is now on display at the Mütter Museum, while the soap man is kept in storage at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, where scientists study them in an effort to uncover the mysteries of their lives and deaths. The Sphinx was not built by humans. A recent discovery by a group of scientists from New York University radically changes our perception of the history of the Great Sphinx of Giza. Contrary to the commonly held belief that this monument was carved by the ancient Egyptians, the new theory claims that the Sphinx is the result of natural forces. The researchers drew attention to yardings, natural sculptures formed by erosion in desert conditions, whose shapes resemble animals or people. Such studies are common in archaeological zones with a similar climate, including Egypt. During experiments simulating erosion in laboratory conditions, scientists proved that when wind and water act on soft rock, figures can form that strikingly resemble a sphinx. So it is possible that the ancient Egyptians simply polished or modified an already existing natural form, giving it more distinct features. This research opens a new chapter in understanding the process of forming archaeological monuments and the role of nature in ancient art. The Thracian Chariot. In November 2008, archaeologists discovered a unique bronze chariot in an ancient Thracian tomb in southeastern Bulgaria, dating back to the late 2nd century AD. This richly decorated chariot is one of the few found in Bulgaria and serves as evidence of the ritual practices that accompanied the funerals of prominent figures of the Thracian people who believed in a better life after death. The deceased were offered all the items they needed in life, and the higher the status of the deceased, the richer the burial gifts were. The bronze chariot, clad in wood, is decorated with scenes from Thracian mythology, images of the god Eros, a leaping panther, and a mythical creature with the body of a panther and the tail of a dolphin. The wheels of the chariot have a diameter of about 1.5 meters. The discovery of a four-wheeled chariot, especially with such large wheel diameters, is extremely rare. At the archaeological excavation site, well-preserved wooden parts of the chariots were found: ceramic tableware, glassware, wooden and leather items, probably parts of horse harnesses, and other offerings that were used for the burial of a wealthy Thracian aristocrat. An unfinished antediluvian structure in the mysterious valleys of Lebanon lies Baalbek, a city that holds the secrets of ancient times. A recently discovered structure at this site has added new information, confirming the unique significance of Baalbek for archaeology and world culture. For a long time, the megalithic architecture of Baalbek remained a mystery to scientists. The construction methods and reasons for creating such massive structures had no parallels. However, the latest discovery offers new interpretations and opportunities for understanding ancient civilizations. Baalbek, located in the Bekaa Valley, is known for its important role during the Hellenistic and Roman periods. Since the conquest by Alexander the Great, the city has undergone significant changes, becoming a bridge between Eastern and Western cultures. Greek culture left its mark on the architecture and art of Baalbek, which can be seen in the stylistic features of its buildings. The Romans in turn expanded and strengthened its status as a religious and cultural center by building majestic temples and public buildings. The most famous structures in Baalbek are the temples dedicated to Jupiter, Venus, and Bacchus. These temples are known not only for their magnificence, but also for the technical achievements embodied in their construction. One of the most significant elements is the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a giant megalith weighing over 1,000 tons, which was never included in the final construction of the temple. The discovery in the quarry in 2014 only deepened the mysteries associated with these ancient construction methods. The findings showed that ancient builders used technologies ahead of their time, which raises questions about the origin and spread of ancient engineering knowledge. Comparing Baalbek with other ancient wonders, such as Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids, one can notice common features in their logistical and engineering approaches. For example, transporting huge stones for Stonehenge or building the pyramids in Giza required not only physical resources but also advanced planning and astronomical knowledge. Modern archaeological methods such as ground-penetrating radar studies and 3D scanning are opening new horizons in the study of ancient technologies. The sarcophagus of Lord Pakal. Pakal, also known as Pakal the Great, was the ruler of the city of Palenque in the Maya civilization. He ruled from 615 to 683 AD and is known for his significant contributions to the development of the city and its culture. Pakal the Great left behind many architectural achievements, including the Temple of the Inscriptions, where his sarcophagus was discovered. The lid of Lord Pakal's sarcophagus is decorated with intricate images that have sparked many interpretations and debates. It depicts Pakal sitting in an unusual pose surrounded by symbols and hieroglyphs. His posture and surroundings have led to various interpretations, including theories about contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Eric von Däniken, a proponent of the ancient astronaut theory, interprets the image on the sarcophagus lid as evidence of the Maya's contact with aliens. He claims that Pakal is depicted in the position of a spaceship pilot, with his hands, legs, and back supposedly operating some kind of device. According to Däniken, this suggests that Pakal could have been connected to extraterrestrial technology. Archaeologists and historians propose alternative explanations. They believe that the image on the sarcophagus symbolizes Pakal's journey to the afterlife and his connection with the Maya deities. According to them, Pakal's pose represents him as a mediator between the earthly world and the spirit world, not as a pilot of a spaceship. Could Lord Pakal really have been an alien? This hypothesis remains highly controversial and lacks scientific evidence. Despite the interesting interpretations proposed by Däniken, most scientists tend to consider these theories as fanciful and not based on real data. Other artifacts found in Palenque and other Maya cities support traditional interpretations. For example, numerous inscriptions and images depict scenes from Maya life, their religious rituals, and mythological beliefs. These findings confirm that Pakal and his sarcophagus were part of the Maya cultural and religious context, not evidence of extraterrestrial contact. The giant from the USA. At the end of the 19th century, deep in the dense forests of North America, near a small settlement now known as Black Hills, South Dakota, a discovery was made that shook the scientific world of that time. A local forest ranger walking along his usual route stumbled upon an unusually large stone protruding from the ground. He was surprised by its size and unusual shape and decided to invite a group of archaeologists from the nearest university. When the archaeologists began the excavation, they discovered that the stone was actually part of a giant stone sarcophagus. Inside, they found well-preserved remains of a person whose height exceeded 3 meters. This discovery sparked a lot of debate among the scholars of that time, some of whom claimed that the find could shed light on the existence of ancient giants mentioned in the legends and myths of many cultures around the world. Despite significant interest from the scientific community, most of the information about the find and the object itself were lost over time. Only a couple of photographs taken during the excavation and a few entries in the personal diaries of the expedition members have survived to this day. These photographs, although not very clear due to the limited technology of that time, show the enormous size of the skeleton compared to the people who excavated it. The Black Hills area, rich in history and mysteries, still attracts researchers and adventure seekers who want to uncover the secrets of ancient civilizations and possibly find lost archaeological treasures. Thus, the story of the archaeological discovery of an ancient giant human remains one of the most mysterious and unsolved chapters in the history of archaeology. The samurai treasure. Not far from Tokyo, the largest hoard of antique coins in Japan's history was discovered. The treasure is kept in a huge clay pot, which is now on display in Kumagaya at the Cultural Treasury of Saitama Prefecture, that is in the National Museum. The historical hoard of bronze coins not only reveals new historical data, but also serves as evidence of natural and chemical processes over time. The copper in their bronze alloy has oxidized over the past 400 years, and as a result, the coins have acquired a bright green hue due to a patina similar to the one that covers the Statue of Liberty. The clay pot with coins, which is more than half a meter wide, was probably buried hundreds of years ago. It was discovered by archaeologists last year at the ruins, which were the site of a medieval samurai pavilion. The coins date back to the 15th century, the era of the Ming Dynasty in China. Coins from the Tang Dynasty of the 7th century were also found at the same excavation site. They are associated with Chinese dynasties because Japan was one of the last great civilizations to adopt its own coinage system. The coins were strung together on cords, passing through the holes, and each cord contained 1,000 coins. The standard of that time was one string of 1,000 bronze coins, equal to 1 ounce of silver. This knowledge about the historical period allowed archaeologists to estimate the number of coins without removing them from the giant pot. The number 260 was engraved on its lid. This hoard of coins represented a huge fortune in Japan during the 15th and 16th centuries. With this money, you could buy enough rice to feed 500 people for a year. A rare astronomical instrument, a medieval brass astrolabe from the 11th century, was discovered by chance but turned out to be an important piece of evidence of intercultural scientific interaction. Created in Spain, it later received inscriptions in different languages as new owners adapted it for themselves. This artifact is unique as a palimpsest, reflecting the changing ideas and needs of its owners. It's not just a rare example of an ancient instrument. It is powerful evidence of scientific exchange between Arabs, Jews, and Christians over the centuries. The Verona astrolabe underwent many changes as it passed from hand to hand. At least 3 owners added translations and corrections, 2 in Hebrew and 1 in an Indo-European language. Astrolabes are maps of the sky with rotating parts that help determine position in time and space. They were useful for navigation, astronomy, and astrology. Carved stone balls. A Neolithic settlement in Scotland became the site of a unique discovery. Hundreds of perfectly polished stone balls decorated with spirals and concentric circles. These artifacts, dating from the 4th to 3rd millennium BC, impress with their high level of stone craftsmanship. The spheres are made from different types of rock, ranging from fragile sandstone to durable granite, and show a level of craftsmanship clearly not meant for purely utilitarian use. One theory suggests that the spheres could have been sling projectiles, but this is unlikely due to the great effort invested in their creation. Another hypothesis is that they were used as weights for scales, but the variety of shapes and ornaments casts doubt on this theory as well. Some researchers lean toward the idea that the spheres had ritual significance. The ornaments could have been symbolic, and the spheres themselves were used in religious ceremonies. However, there is still not enough evidence to support this theory, and the Scottish stone spheres remain one of the most intriguing mysteries of the European Neolithic. These mysterious artifacts continue to spark interest and debate among archaeologists, highlighting the richness and complexity of Neolithic culture. a 1,000-year-old collection of medieval games. Archaeologists have discovered a collection of medieval gaming items in a forgotten castle in southern Germany. Among the finds are a well-preserved chess piece, gaming tokens, and dice dating back to the 11th and 12th centuries. These items provide a unique insight into early gaming culture. The discovered chess piece in the shape of a knight is especially significant, as it belongs to the early spread of chess in Europe. Laboratory analysis showed that one of the sides played with red pieces. The wear marks on the piece indicate that the rules of the game have been preserved to this day. In the Middle Ages, chess was one of the 7 skills that a good knight had to master. This explains why many chess piece finds come from castles. In addition to the chess piece, floral gaming tokens and a 6-dotted die carved from horn were found. Artifacts found beneath the wall's rubble help scientists better understand medieval noble gaming culture. In the future, researchers plan to conduct further analyses to learn more about the origins of European chess and the significance of games in the lives of medieval knights. The second Tibetan Denisovan. A group of scientists studied materials found in Baishia Cave in Tibet and discovered an ancient rib. Paleoproteomic analysis showed that it belonged to a Denisovan who lived about 48 to 32,000 years ago. The main information about Denisovans is known from a few discoveries. Most of the fossils were found in the Denisova Cave, after which this species of ancient humans was named. Outside this cave, a Denisovan was first identified in Tibet, when protein fragments from a 160,000-year-old lower jaw fragment found in 1980 were analyzed. Later, Denisovan DNA was also found in deposits from younger layers of this cave. The tooth of another representative of this ancient population was excavated in Laos. Scientists from Denmark, China, and France studied the Baishia Cave in Tibet. At this high-altitude site, located at an elevation of 3,280 meters, they found numerous artifacts and animal remains, indicating that the cave was visited by archaic humans for many thousands of years. Among more than 2,500 animal bones and teeth found in the cave were blue sheep, yaks, Tibetan gazelles, and horses. Bones of ancient hyena, gray wolf, snow leopard, pheasant, and golden eagle were also identified. Almost 20 bones show anthropogenic traces. During the excavation, archaeologists discovered a rib fragment over 5 centimeters long, which broke into 2 pieces. Biomolecular analysis showed that the fossil belonged to a Denisovan. Dating by the cultural layer determined the age of the find to be between 32 and 40,000 years, indicating that Denisovans visited Baishia Cave more than 100,000 years ago. Gilgamesh, king of Uruk, and the last king of the Anunnaki, is one of the most important and mysterious figures in the history of ancient Mesopotamia. He not only became the central figure in one of the oldest epic poems, but also left a deep mark on culture and religion. Gilgamesh, whose name is still surrounded by mystery, was an outstanding ruler whose achievements became the basis for many myths and legends. During his reign, Gilgamesh was known as a great builder, strategist, and warrior. He is credited with the construction of the massive city walls of Uruk, which protected the inhabitants from enemies and natural disasters. According to legends, these walls were so impressive that the gods themselves took part in their construction. In addition, the reign of Gilgamesh is associated with a period of economic prosperity and cultural flourishing, which made Uruk an important center of the ancient world. Gilgamesh became a central figure in mythology thanks to the epic poem about his exploits, known as the Epic of Gilgamesh. This literary monument, found in the library of the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal in Nineveh, describes the journeys and adventures of Gilgamesh, his struggle with supernatural forces of nature, as well as his quest for immortality. This poem is not only a major source for studying ancient Mesopotamian culture, but also reflects eternal human aspirations and experiences. Archaeological findings confirm the historicity of Gilgamesh. During the excavations in Uruk and other Mesopotamian cities, many artifacts were found, including cuneiform tablets with texts and inscriptions mentioning his name. Of particular significance is the discovered tomb, which according to some accounts may belong to Gilgamesh himself. This discovery, if confirmed, could be key to understanding the historical figure of Gilgamesh. Among the archaeological finds, special attention is drawn to texts describing The Anunnaki, deities who played an important role in the mythology of ancient Mesopotamia. The Anunnaki are considered descendants of the sky god An and the earth goddess Ki, and were associated with the creation of humanity and the management of its destiny. The theory of the Anunnaki's influence extends far beyond Mesopotamia, linking them to other ancient civilizations, and even to extraterrestrial visitors from the planet Nibiru. Comparing the Nibiru theories with other cataclysm theories, such as the global flood or the Tunguska meteorite impact, demonstrates the wide range of hypotheses about the origin and development of humanity. The discovery of Gilgamesh's tomb could shed light on many aspects of the life and reign of this legendary king, as well as confirm or disprove the numerous myths about him. Scientists have announced a sensational discovery in Germany: the oldest human tooth, ancient dental fossils, which are estimated to be almost 10 million years old, and which, according to them, do not fit into the established chronology of human history. What is truly shocking is that one of these fossils resembles the teeth of the most ancient human ancestors. However, until now, such teeth have only been found in Africa, not in Europe, and even then, the known fossil record is millions of years younger. Discovered in September 2016 near the German town of Eppelsheim, the two well-preserved teeth are dated to about 9.7 million years ago. One of the teeth, the upper right first molar, is similar in characteristics to other specimens found in this area, but the other tooth, the upper left canine, is different, and researchers say its outline and shape bring it closer to the teeth of hominin species, including Australopithecus afarensis. The problem is that Lucy is estimated to be only 3 million years old, and it is believed that the earliest ancestors of humanity began their migration from Africa to Europe and Asia about 100,000 years ago. So the question is, who did these teeth belong to, which ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and how did they get there? A new giant pyramid. A giant underground pyramid, Gunung Padang, has been discovered in Indonesia, which is older than Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza. This place, shrouded in mystery and considered sacred by the local people of the island of West Java, is known as Punden Berundak, a stepped structure. Archaeological work has only just begun, but it has already shown that Gunung Padang may be the oldest pyramidal structure in the world, built on top of an extinct volcano before the advent of agriculture. The latest research suggests that there may be chambers with unknown contents inside the hill. The name Mountain of Enlightenment emphasizes that an ancient civilization may have turned the volcanic hill into the foundation for a pyramid many millennia ago. Radiocarbon dating shows that construction began around the last ice age, making it more than 16,000 years old, and possibly even 27,000 years old, which puts it in the same age range as Göbekli Tepe. Between 2011 and 2015, a group of specialists conducted a comprehensive analysis using drilling and seismic surveys. They determined that Gunung Padang was built in several stages. By examining the interior of the hill, scientists discovered signs of hidden chambers, some of which reach 15 meters in length and 10 meters in height, confirming the uniqueness and mystery of this ancient structure. The curse texts, curses inscribed on clay shards shaped like human figures, date back to around the 24th to 22nd centuries BCE. These ancient texts, written in various hieroglyphs, served as a kind of magical protection against Egypt's enemies. The Egyptians would write the names of their adversaries on pottery fragments and call down punishment upon them, cursing them for 7 generations. After that, the fragments were broken and buried in the ground or left in places designated for rituals. These curses could contain cruel wishes, such as killing enemies with a knife or spear and other kinds of agonizing death. A pot with burnt porridge. In one of the oldest villages in Germany in Oldenburg, LA7 archaeologists discovered a unique treasure, fragments of an ancient pot. This find tells us about the culinary preferences of our ancestors more than 5,000 years ago. They also cooked porridge. Kubiak Martin, the famous archaeobotanist, shared some impressive details. Chemical analysis of the fragments showed traces of grains such as emmer and barley, as well as protein-rich seeds of goosefoot, similar to quinoa. Interestingly, sprouted grains were found, which indicates a lack of knowledge of ancient grain drying methods. This is the first case of finding traces of food preparation on ceramics in Neolithic Germany. Faces on the stone became visible because of the drought in the Brazilian region, where the water level in the Amazon River reached a record low, which led to the discovery of faces and other figures engraved on an ancient stone that is more than 2,000 years old. These petroglyphs, including images of animals and other natural forms, were found on the banks of the Rio Negro at an archaeological site known as Ponto das Lagas. Researchers estimate that the drawings are between 1,000 and 2,000 years old. On the stones, in addition to images of faces and water, there are also grooves indicating that the site was used for making stone tools. Archaeologists discovered 25 groups of engravings on a single rock. The find indicates that this place was used for sharpening various tools. In addition, pottery fragments were found at this site. Although Ponto das Lagas is recognized as an archaeological monument, the petroglyphs have not yet been studied. What other secrets do you think the Amazon is hiding? Share your thoughts in the comments. The life of ancient Egyptians. In ancient Egypt, breakfast was not as varied as modern meals. Simple but nutritious foods formed the basis. Bread made from emmer, a bit of honey or figs for sweetness, and possibly a small amount of cheese made from goat's milk. This meal emphasized practicality and the need to maintain energy for the day ahead. It is important to note that breakfast, for the pharaoh and his family, could be more varied and rich, including meat products and fruits, highlighting their status and distinction from ordinary citizens. During the feast, Egyptians would display a wooden mummy for everyone to see. This custom served as a reminder of the brevity of life and the importance of enjoying the moment. This tradition was possibly inspired by the belief in the afterlife and the desire to remind guests of the inevitability of death, which made every moment of earthly life even more valuable. The very presence of the mummy at feasts may also have had ritual significance, connecting the living with the world of the dead and ensuring the favor of the gods. Footwear in ancient Egypt was not only a practical item, but also an expression of social status, and even a means of symbolic communication. Sandals of the upper classes could be made from expensive materials and decorated with intricate patterns, which emphasize their high status. Images of enemies on the soles of sandals symbolize their defeat and subjugation, serving as a reminder of the power and might of their owner. The ancient Egyptians were exceptionally deeply attached to their loved ones, which is reflected in the art and literature of that time. Cats, dogs, and even more exotic animals such as lions and monkeys were often depicted next to their owners, demonstrating the deep emotional bonds that develop between humans and animals. These animals not only served as companions, but also performed important functions in the household and religious rituals. Cats in Egypt were held in special reverence, being associated with the goddess Bastet, a symbol of protection and fertility. These animals were considered guardians of the home from evil spirits and pests. Dogs associated with Anubis, the god of funerary rituals, also held an important place in the lives of the Egyptians. They not only served as loyal companions and helpers in hunting, but also symbolized eternal loyalty and protection. Fashion in ancient Egypt reflected not only social status, but also religious beliefs. Clothing made of fine linen, which allowed people to withstand the hot climate, was complemented by bright jewelry that not only decorated but also served as amulets. Attention to detail in clothing, jewelry, and makeup indicates a highly developed sense of aesthetics and a belief in the protective magic of these items. Makeup, especially the famous black coal, was used not only to accentuate the eyes but also as protection from sunlight and evil spirits. Beer was not just a popular drink in ancient Egypt, it played a central role in the economy and social life. Being accessible and nutritious, beer served as the main drink for all social classes and was even used as a means of payment. Beer production was a carefully regulated process controlled by the state, which highlights its importance not only as a commodity, but also as a vital element in religious and social rituals. Children's hairstyles in ancient Egypt had not only an aesthetic but also a symbolic character. The sidelock of youth worn by children was not just a fashionable ornament, It symbolized their age and social status, and also protected them from evil spirits and diseases. This lock was cut off during the coming-of-age ceremony, highlighting the changes in their social status. Funerary portraits, which appeared in Egypt during the Greco-Roman period, represent a unique combination of Egyptian religious traditions and Greco-Roman artistic techniques. These portraits, depicting the deceased with unusual realism, were meant to preserve their appearance for the afterlife, serving as a bridge between the worlds of the living and the dead. Subglacial Lake in Antarctica. The Chinese expedition is planning unique research on the Kilin subglacial lake in Antarctica, which was discovered in 2022 and is hidden beneath 3,600 meters of ice. The lake, covering an area of 370 square kilometers and reaching depths of up to 200 meters, may have been cut off from the outside world for 3 million years, making it a potential home for unknown forms of life adapted to extreme conditions. Researchers hope that penetrating its depths will reveal the secrets of an ancient ecosystem and provide new data about Earth's climatic past. However, the task requires the development of advanced technologies for clean drilling and sample collection to avoid contaminating the unique environment. There is no start date for the expedition yet, as scientists are ramping up technical preparations for this ambitious project, which aims to explore previously unseen corners of our planet and understand how life can survive in the harshest conditions. The mystery of Japanese figurines. There is a mystique surrounding the ancient art of Japan, especially among Western scholars, centered on what the small, charming, alien-like clay dog figurines from the prehistoric Jomon period mean. Why do dogs have such similar features, despite the diversity of craftsmen and regions? And how can we make sense of works created by people with whom we have no way to communicate? They were mainly discovered in the western part of Japan since the 17th century and have a unique appearance. To modern people, they may seem similar to aliens because of their bulging eyes and exaggerated proportions. But it is assumed that they depict humanoid, probably female figures with wide hips and feminine breasts. Archaeologists and cultural experts are still not sure about the exact purpose of dog in ancient society. There is a theory that the figurines served as a childbirth aid or as a symbol of fertility. Such similarities between dog and fertility figurines from other cultures suggest that they probably symbolize the pregnant female body. The Jomon period covers a vast span of time and includes various stages, from early to late, each characterized by its own unique features. In the making of pottery and the use of dogu for shamanistic or ritual purposes. In modern Japan, dogu have gained new life, becoming an icon in video games and pop culture, demonstrating their influence far beyond the historical Jomon period and expanding their presence in the modern world, where they are embodied in various artistic and cultural forms. Dragon houses and Mount Oki. The dragon houses on the island of Evia in Greece are mysterious megalithic structures that impress with their massive size and precision. These ancient structures, built from huge stone blocks without the use of binding mortar, date back to around the 8th century BC. Legends associate the dragon houses with the gods, particularly Zeus, and describe them as places of sacred rituals and the dwelling of ancient dragons guarding these territories. Mount Athena, where some of the dragon houses are located, is considered a place of contact with the gods because of its remoteness and majestic location. In ancient Greek mythology, mountains were often associated with the dwellings of the gods and places where they appeared. This mountain, rising above the surrounding landscapes, could be perceived as a sacred place where divine encounters and rituals took place. Archaeologists face many difficulties when studying these megalithic structures. One of the main mysteries is how the ancient builders managed to transport and place such huge stone blocks on the tops of mountains. The logistical and technical aspects of their construction remain unclear, especially considering the lack of modern tools and equipment. The lack of precise information on when and why these structures were built makes them harder to study and interpret. According to legends, Zeus used these places for his meetings with people and other gods. The dragons mentioned in legends could have been symbols of his power in the protection of sacred places. There is a theory that the dragon houses could have been places of contact with extraterrestrials. Supporters of this hypothesis claim that the unusual architecture and precise geometry of these structures indicate possible influence from extraterrestrial civilizations. They believe that the ancient Greeks might have interpreted encounters with extraterrestrials as contacts with gods, which was reflected in their myths and legends. The face of Amenhotep III. Amenhotep III ruled ancient Egypt 3,400 years ago during the height of its power. He is considered one of the richest people in history. He was revered as a living god, and he was the grandfather of Tutankhamun. Now we can see his true face thanks to scientific reconstruction. Amenhotep III led Egypt to unprecedented prosperity and international power. More statues of him have survived than of any other pharaoh. However, his face has never been reconstructed. An international team of scientists decided to show us what this man looked like. Michael Kabicht, an archaeologist from Flinders University in Australia, notes that Amenhotep III looked different from how he appears on his statues. This suggests that all Egyptians who lived after his death did not know what he actually looked like. His face after reconstruction expresses the calmness of a man who advocated for peace and lived during a time of economic prosperity. Studies have shown that the pharaoh was overweight, sick, and not very mobile. He suffered from dental problems. He was almost bald and had a height of only 156 centimeters, which made him one of the shortest pharaohs. Brazilian graphics expert Cícero Moraes carried out a digital reconstruction of Amenhotep III's skull, using data from living donors to determine the size and position of the nose, ears, eyes, and lips. The reconstruction also took into account historical data about his strong physique. This is the first realistic depiction of Amenhotep III's face, which includes not only the face but also clothing and accessories. Amenhotep III died between 40 and 50 years old, leaving his successor a country at the peak of power and wealth. In diplomatic letters, foreign rulers begged him to send them gold, describing Egypt as a country where gold was as plentiful as sand. There is a theory that the mummy of Amenhotep III might have been covered with gold leaf, making him look like a statue of a god. It is also believed that the pharaoh was a great admirer of women, importing hundreds of foreign women for his harem. After the death of Amenhotep III, his son Amenhotep IV changed his name to Akhenaten and established the cult of the sun god Aten. However, his son Tutankhaten restored the cult of Amun and changed his name to Tutankhamun, becoming one of the most famous pharaohs thanks to the discovery of his tomb in 1922. The mysterious hand. This is a metal hand. The hand was found in 2021 at an Iron Age site near the ruins of Iralegi Castle in northern Spain. It is about 2,100 years old. An inscription was found on the artifact in the extinct Vasconic language, which is considered the ancestor of the modern Basque language. Researchers were able to decipher the first word, Sarioniki, which resembles the Basque word Zarioneko and translates as luck. The remaining 5 words are still a mystery. Scientists believe that the bronze hand was used as a good luck token and could have been hung at the entrance to a dwelling. This find is unique because it is the oldest written record in the Vasconic language, from which Basque later developed. It significantly expands our understanding of these languages and the cultures of the ancient people. Women are forbidden to see this mask. The Pitt Rivers Museum of Oxford University has removed from display a wooden mask made by the Igbo people of Nigeria. According to the beliefs of this people, women are forbidden to see the mask, and only men are allowed to use it during ceremonies and rituals. The museum put up a warning sign about cultural safety and removed the image of the mask from its website. The Igbo mask has deep cultural significance, symbolizing spiritual power and protecting the tribe's traditions. It was used exclusively by men, which highlights its importance in religious and social rituals. Art historian Ruth Millington noted that denying all women access to the artifact due to a taboo in one culture is an extreme measure. She believes that women should have the right to decide for themselves whether they want to see the mask after learning about its cultural features. Bosnian pyramids. Mysterious structures have been discovered in Bosnia, which, according to some researchers, may be ancient constructions about 12,000 years old. These massive formations first attracted the attention of archaeologists and enthusiasts in the early 2000s, after they were pointed out by the Bosnian archaeologist and businessman Samir Osmanagic. He claims that the pyramids were created by an ancient civilization and that they are significantly older than the well-known pyramids in Egypt. The complex consists of several pyramidal structures, including the Pyramid of the Sun, the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Pyramid of the Dragon. The Pyramid of the Sun is the largest and reaches a height of about 220 meters, making it one of the tallest pyramids in the world. Osmanagic and his team conducted numerous studies, including ground-penetrating radar scans and excavations, claiming to have found traces of ancient tunnels and stone blocks that indicate the pyramids are man-made. However, not all scientists agree with this point of view. Many geologists and archaeologists claim that these structures are natural formations created by geological processes. They point out that the geological structure of the region and the shape of the pyramids can be explained by natural forces such as erosion and tectonic movements. They remain one of the most mysterious and debated discoveries in modern archaeology. One of the oldest books, the Crosby-Shoyan Codex, a rare manuscript that revolutionized the study of Christianity, was sold on June 11, 2024 at a Christie's auction in London for nearly $3.9 million. This codex, created in the mid-4th century in Egypt, contains biblical and other Christian texts, making it unique for the study of the history of Christianity. The codex was found, along with more than 20 other manuscripts, near Dishna in Egypt in 1952. These documents are known as the Bodmer Papyri, named after the Swiss collector Martin Bodmer. The codex includes 5 early Christian texts in the Coptic language, among which are the earliest known texts of the Book of Jonah and the First Epistle of Peter. These texts are important for understanding early Christian literature and culture. The codex is an early example of the transition from scroll to book. The codex consists of 104 pages of papyrus, which were previously sewn together but are now kept behind protective plexiglass. This transitional period is important for the history of writing in the book, as it demonstrates the evolution of writing technologies. The codex was copied by the same scribe, probably an Egyptian monk in the 3rd century AD. He used a freshly cut reed as a pen. The preservation of the codex is explained by the dry climate of Egypt, which allowed it to survive for more than 1,700 years. A strange stone on the beach. Traveler Kyle Finley, while walking in the evening along Edisto Beach in South Carolina, discovered a fossilized tooth of a prehistoric American mastodon. Kyle has been vacationing at Edisto Beach with his family since childhood. Searching for fossils has always been his favorite activity, but this find was a complete surprise. A representative of the Natural History Museum in London confirmed that Kyle's photos indeed show the tooth of an American mastodon, or Mammoth americanum. The American mastodon is a distant relative of mammoths and elephants, which lived in North America from the late Miocene to the late Pleistocene and became extinct about 10,000 years ago. These animals were shorter and sturdier than mammoths. Females grew up to 2 meters tall, males up to 3 meters. Previously, megalodon teeth and remains of other prehistoric mammals were found on this beach. Cup of an ancient ruler. In 2014, archaeologists in Athens made an amazing discovery: a wine cup broken into 12 pieces which scientists believe belonged to Pericles, the legendary Athenian leader whose rule marked the golden age for Athens. This historical artifact is now housed in the city's epigraphic museum. The most intriguing thing about this find is the inscription, which includes the names of 7 men, among them Pericles and presumably his brother Ariphron. The inscriptions engraved on the cup became visible only when the artifact was examined in a certain way. The name Ariphron, standing next to the name Pericles, indicates a deep connection between these figures. It is assumed that the cup was used in Pericles' youth at a wine symposium, where participants traditionally engrave their names to commemorate the gathering. The discovery provides a unique insight into the culture and customs of ancient Greek society, allowing us to look into the past and feel a connection between eras. The Bagazi Pyramid in Kazakhstan. In 2016, in the vast Karaganda region of Kazakhstan, archaeologists discovered something incredible. The Bagazi Pyramid is a stepped structure that may open a new chapter in Turkic history. This structure, belonging to the Sithosaka culture, is part of the Bagazi Dandibai civilization, which flourished during the Bronze Age. The pyramid, rising on the Karajartas Hill on the left bank of the Taldinur River, just 90 kilometers from Karaganda, became the final resting place for the leader of the local nomads. Research has shown that it dates to between the 12th and 14th centuries BC. Artifacts found inside tell of the turbulent history of the steppes, from metal exports to religious rituals, all leading us to the emergence of statehood in these lands. The proto-urban settlement of Kent, near which sacrificial altars were found, points to deep connections with the Karasuk culture and even with ancient Mesopotamia. The giant sword from Japan. In Japan, there is a unique sword believed to have been forged during the Edo period. It is 465 centimeters long and weighs 75 kilograms, making it the largest Japanese sword in the country. This sword was presented to the Hanauka Hachiman Shrine in 1859 during a ceremony honoring the imperial monument by supporters who shared the views of imperial patriots like Yoshida Shoin. The sword was forged with the hope that it would ward off evil and demons and could help create a bright, pure, and peaceful society. The sword is kept in the treasury of the Hanaoka Hachiman Shrine and is usually not displayed to the public. However, it can be seen with a special guide by appointment only. The oldest fortresses on the planet. Traditionally, we thought that complex defensive structures appeared only with the development of agriculture, but now everything is different. In Siberia, 10 hunter-gatherer fortifications have been found, which are up to 8,000 years old. These settlements, located on riverbanks, were protected by earthen ramparts and wooden palisades. The ancient inhabitants of this area not only hunted and fished, but also created ceramic vessels for storing food. Their ability to build serious fortifications testifies to the incredible complexity of their lives. Many believe that permanent settlements with fortifications arose in agricultural societies, but this discovery disproves that theory. It turns out that even hunter-gatherers could create complex societies. The presence of abundant resources in the Siberian taiga likely played a key role in the emergence of these settlements. These fortifications were possibly used to control and efficiently utilize local resources. A corpse for a curse. Why were curses placed in tombs in ancient times? Often, the deceased and the ritual performers were strangers to each other. The body of the dead was merely a means to transmit the curse to the forces of the underworld, who would then carry it out. There is evidence from the 4th century BC that some practitioners believed the spirit of the deceased, which remained near the grave after burial, could carry out the curse. In both cases, the dead were seen as agents capable of influencing the curse, either as intermediaries to the underworld forces or as independent active powers able to interfere in the affairs of the living. Certain types of the deceased, whose souls were considered especially restless and volatile, were of particular interest in curse rituals. The graves of such people were especially suitable for supernatural use. These included people who died before their time. For example, infants, children, women who died before childbirth, and those who died from violence. For both groups, sudden death meant that their lives ended before they could complete the normal course of life. Their spirits were especially disturbed and thirsted for revenge. On the island of Paros, a child's grave was found with a tin figurine pierced with 7 iron nails, its hands behind its back, and a tin noose around its neck. The figurine had the name Theophrastus on it. Mummified teenage mother. Archaeologists have re-examined the mummified remains of a young mother who died in childbirth more than 1,500 years ago, and discovered shocking details. 2 fetuses were found in the pelvic area and in the chest. This discovery is both astonishing and horrifying. The mummy of a teenage girl who died during childbirth in ancient Egypt was found in the Karga Oasis at the El Bagawat Cemetery in 1908. The body was salted, matching ancient Egyptian mummification practices. At first, archaeologists assumed that the girl died from complications during childbirth, but a CT scan revealed a second fetus in her chest cavity, indicating a twin pregnancy. It was especially disturbing to discover that one of the fetuses was missing its head. During the research, it was found that the baby's head got stuck in the mother's pelvis, which led to its decapitation during childbirth. This is the first known case in Egypt. It is assumed that the embalmers might not have known about the twins and forgot to remove the second fetus. This research highlights the dangers of pregnancy and childbirth in that era. The ancient Egyptians treated childbirth with deep respect, as can be seen from the spells against twin pregnancies. The underground city in Bolivia. In the deep deserts of the plains of southern Bolivia lie the ruins of the mysterious underground city of Yanaku. According to local legends dating back to around the 7th century AD, Yanaku was built by ancient civilizations as a refuge from frequent droughts and military conflicts. The structure of the city includes a complex network of tunnels and chambers located on different levels. The levels are connected by staircases and slopes carved into the rock, and a unique water supply system provided the inhabitants with water even during the driest periods. Ancient drawings and glyphs have been found on the walls of certain chambers, which, according to scientists, could be the key to understanding the lifestyle and culture of the inhabitants of Yanaku. Research shows that Yanaku may have been not only a refuge, but also a center of cultural and religious significance. However, the reasons for its sudden fall into obscurity remain a mystery. Today, Yanaku is a unique archaeological heritage site that attracts researchers and history enthusiasts from all over the world. 10,000-year-old chewing gum. 10,000 years ago, in what is now Sweden, a group of teenagers chewed birch resin, much like modern kids chew gum. They could not have imagined that, in the future, scientists would analyze the chewed residue they left behind and discover many interesting facts about their diet, lifestyle, and even their health. 3 pieces of birch pitch, which was used as glue in the Stone Age, were found in the 1990s at a place called Husebyklev. Analysis of microbial DNA in the resin showed a high level of bacteria associated with gum diseases, such as Treponema denticola and Streptococcus aeruginosus. The study of these samples showed that ancient teenagers suffered from tooth decay and periodontitis, and also ate deer, trout, hazelnuts, and processed fox and wolf fur. Scientists also found traces of birds and other animals, indicating their use for food and the processing of bones into tools. Traces of mistletoe were found in the chewing gum samples, which suggests the possible use of this plant in medicine or as a poison for arrowheads. This discovery provides a unique insight into the lives of hunter-gatherers on the west coast of Scandinavia, 9,700 years ago, allowing us to learn about their diet and dental problems. And we're talking here about a very old piece of chewing gum that children used to chew, and thanks to modern technology, we are already able to tell so much about the lifestyle of people who lived 12,000 years ago. Traces of a vanished culture. Venezuelan archaeologists have discovered 20 new sites with rock paintings that are thousands of years old. These drawings found in Canema National Park belong to a previously unknown culture. The drawings, made with red pigment, include geometric motifs such as dots, crosses, stars, and lines, as well as stylized images of leaves and human figures. Some of the images are carved into the rocks, making them petroglyphs. The purpose of creating these drawings remains a mystery. They might have been related to birth, illnesses, the renewal of nature, or hunting. Rock art sites were probably important because of their location, just as the locations of churches and mosques are important to us today. The exact age of the drawings is still unknown, but they are estimated to be about 4,000 years old, based on similar drawings found in Brazil. However, scientists believe that the Venezuelan discoveries may be even older. Canaima National Park is a vast area with forests and parks the size of Belgium. One of its most famous attractions is Angel Falls, the highest waterfall in the world. Researchers suggest that the park could have been the center of origin for this mysterious culture, which later spread along the Amazon, Guyana, and southern Colombia, where similar rock paintings can be found. The tomb of Ankhtifi, a nomarch of ancient Egypt who lived around 2100 BC, left behind a unique legacy. Although his status was lower than that of a pharaoh, Ankhtifi was cautious, leaving an ominous warning on the walls of his tomb. It states that any ruler who dares to violate his tomb will be rejected by the falcon god Kimin. A curse will also fall on the violator's descendants, predicting the loss of their inheritance. Modern archaeologists who have studied the tombs were not frightened by these predictions, but it seems that even robbers in ancient times did not dare to disturb the final resting place of Ankhtifi. An axe over 200,000 years old, archaeologists from Saudi Arabia unearthed a basalt axe, which is now being studied to understand its purpose. A tool was found in the Al-Ula region that is over 200,000 years old. The discovery was made near an ancient settlement known for its archaeological treasures. The city of Kirk, also known as Al-Mabiyat, has a rich history and landmarks from different eras. The tool, discovered by the Theus Heritage Team, is over half a meter long and shows signs of use for chopping. A thorough analysis is ongoing to determine its role in the lives of ancient people. Serrated stones. In Southern California, amazing artifacts resembling bronze gears have been found, stones similar to those previously discovered in Peru. These stone gears, known as the California cogged stones, range from 2 to 6 inches in diameter and up to 2 inches thick. Scientists believe that they were made sometime between 6,000 and 3,500 BC. Looking at these artifacts with modern eyes, they may seem primitive, but these stones have different features, such as cups, round indentations and notches along the edges, as well as patterns that look like muffins. Surprisingly, about 15 of them have a hole in the center, often narrow on one side. Scientists also discovered a curious anomaly. In the middle, there is a perfect square hole, which would be difficult to reproduce even with modern technology. This suggests that their ancient creators were familiar with advanced technologies. The purpose of these stone discs remains a mystery to this day. Some suggest that they were used for certain ritual purposes, but who created these stones and why remains an open question. Today, the prevailing opinion is that these gears were used as ceremonial objects, but their meaning and symbolism are still up for discussion. Pompeii managed to preserve history. In the year 79 AD, the city of Pompeii, a flourishing center of trade and culture on the shore of the Tyrrhenian Sea, met its demise. The residents of the city were caught off guard by the powerful eruption of Vesuvius, a volcano that for many years had seemed like a sleeping giant. This eruption is shrouded in mystery and mystical omens. Even the very day of the disaster, as some studies claim, was surrounded by an unusual atmosphere. Early in the morning, the volcano began spewing a colossal cloud of ash and gas, which rose to a height of more than 30 kilometers. Pyroclastic flows, a deadly combination of burning gas, ash, and volcanic bombs, instantly covered the city, taking lives and freezing everything around in the last second of their existence. It is estimated that between 10,000 and 25,000 people died as a result of the volcanic eruption. The central areas of Pompeii were especially hard hit, where houses and public buildings were buried under meters of ash and pumice. The volcanic ash that covered the city played a crucial role in the preservation of Pompeii. This thick layer made it difficult for air and microorganisms to reach the site, which resulted in the remarkable preservation of buildings, mosaics, frescoes, and even organic materials such as wood, fabrics, and food. The streets and houses of Pompeii, frozen in time, provide an invaluable snapshot of ancient life, preserved for thousands of years. The excavations of the Villa of the Papyri in Herculaneum revealed amazing artifacts, including mosaics, statues, and more than 1,800 papyrus scrolls that belonged to the library of the famous philosopher Philodemus. These scrolls are a real treasure for historians and archaeologists, as they contain works on philosophy, ethics, rhetoric, and poetry, written from the 1st century BC to the year 79 AD. The study of these documents opens new pages in our understanding of the culture and spiritual life of the ancient Greeks and Romans, illustrating the sophistication of their thinking and the breadth of their knowledge. Modern technologies play a key role in the study of these ancient texts. Methods such as virtual unrolling and X-ray scanning allow scientists to read papyrus scrolls without physical interference, eliminating the risk of damaging these fragile materials. Thus, Pompeii continues to stand as a testament to tragedy and at the same time as a time capsule, providing a unique window into the past. The hieroglyphic stairway in Copan. The ancient city of Copan, located in the western part of modern Honduras, is known for its outstanding architectural structures and numerous monuments that show how highly developed this civilization was. One of the most famous monuments of Copan is the hieroglyphic stairway, which is considered one of the largest and most complex Maya inscriptions. The hieroglyphic stairway in Copan consists of 63 steps, on which more than 2,200 hieroglyphs are carved. This stairway serves as an important source of information about the dynastic history of Copan and its rulers. The hieroglyphs on the stairway tell about the feats and achievements of the kings, as well as about religious and ritual events associated with their reign. Ernst Forstemann, an outstanding German scholar, played a key role in deciphering the Maya hieroglyphs. At the end of the 19th century, he made significant progress in understanding the Maya writing system, which allowed him to read many texts, including those found on the hieroglyphic stairway. The Maya hieroglyphs represent a complex writing system that combines phonetic and ideographic elements. Modern technologies have significantly advanced the study of Maya hieroglyphs. The use of three-dimensional scanning, photogrammetry, and digital analysis allows researchers to create accurate models of hieroglyphic texts and analyze them with a high degree of detail. Machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies help automate the processes of deciphering and comparing texts, which speeds up and simplifies the work of scientists. Bronze locking rings. In the late Bronze Age, approximately between 1000 and 800 BCE, miniature bronze rings of unusual shape began to appear in Europe, often found in pairs. These artifacts, known as locking rings, are striking for their elegant quality and craftsmanship. They are decorated with the finest engravings, and some are even inlaid with gold. The name locking rings is associated with their unique shape, which is different from ordinary rings. The main question that concerns researchers is what their purpose was. There are several theories, but none of them are undisputed. Some suggest that these rings could have been earrings or clothing buckles. However, considering their miniature size and refinement, these theories are questionable. It is possible that the retaining rings were worn in the hair or used as amulets. They could have served as symbols of social status or belonging to a particular group. The delicate engraving and gold inlay indicate that these items were of great importance to their owners, possibly highlighting their high social status or special role in society. These bronze rings remain one of the mysteries of the late Bronze Age. Continuing to attract the attention of archaeologists and historians, they reflect the high level of skill and artistic taste of ancient craftsmen, as well as the complexity and diversity of the culture of that era. Ancient structures in the Black Sea. Off the coast of Abkhazia, scientists from the International Underwater Archaeological Expedition discovered important archaeological finds. With the help of special equipment and divers, they explored depths from 1 to 60 meters in the waters near the cities of Gudauta and Sukhum. The most significant discovery was the remains of a medieval structure in the Sukhum Bay at the mouth of the Besledka River, where the ancient city of Dioscuria is believed to have been located. In this area, where an ancient stele had previously been found, archaeologists discovered a semicircular masonry structure, probably a tower with attached walls. It is made of large pebbles with a limestone mortar. There is pottery present in the masonry. Due to the large amount of sand and silt in the water, it was difficult to photograph the object, so a detailed survey is planned for 2024-2025. In the waters near the city of Gudauta, archaeologists found many vessels from the ancient and medieval periods, including an amphora at a depth of 48 to 50 meters. Manuscript about the childhood of Jesus. Scientists have discovered and deciphered an ancient papyrus containing rare records about the youth of Jesus Christ. The papyrus, which was found in the Hamburg State and University Library, remained unnoticed until recently. Experts came across it by chance while analyzing manuscripts. Their attention was drawn to the name Jesus in the text, written in sloppy handwriting, which indicated that the author could have been a student of a school or a religious community in Egypt in the 4th or 5th century. The papyrus fragment, measuring 10 by 5 centimeters, contains 13 lines describing a story about how 5-year-old Jesus turns clay sparrows into living birds. This text is part of the Gospel of Thomas, an apocryphal writing that tells about the life of Jesus from the age of 5 to 12. In one of the episodes, Jesus is playing by a stream and molds 12 sparrows out of clay. His father Joseph notices this and scolds his son for working on the Sabbath, the holy day of rest. In response, Jesus commands the clay figures to fly, and they come to life. Deciphering the text was a difficult task. Researchers, by comparing the letters with other digitized papyri, were gradually able to decipher the record. The Gospel of Thomas was not included in the canonical Bible because it was not considered authentic. Traditional accounts of the life of Jesus are limited to his birth, the flight into Egypt, the return to Nazareth, and his visit to the Jerusalem temple. The reason for the exclusion of the early years of Jesus' life from the Bible remains unclear. This discovery is of great significance for modern understanding of Christianity, as it provides rare evidence about the early years of Jesus' life and his early followers. Love conquers all. The artifact was found during archaeological work on a 15th century port crane, wedged between 2 defensive towers. Polish archaeologists discovered a medieval ornament in the shape of a dove with the Latin inscription Amor vincit omnia, love conquers all. The dove-shaped badge contains remnants of 2 handles, which allowed it to be hung on a chain or attached to clothing. For the ancient Greeks and Romans, the dove symbolized love, devotion, and care. The dove was the sacred animal of the goddesses of love, Aphrodite and Venus. Dr. Anna Rębisz-Lubiewskaja, an archaeologist at the museum, says that doves represent love and fidelity. A pair of doves symbolizes care and devotion to a partner, making them the perfect symbol of love and family. At the National Maritime Museum in Gdansk, they explained that such ornaments were popular in Gdansk between the 14th and 15th centuries. This fashion came from Western Europe, especially from the Netherlands and England. At one time, this port crane was the largest working crane in the world. It also served as a defensive structure and as one of the city gates. The crane had a lifting capacity of 4 tons to a height of 11 meters, which was achieved thanks to 2 massive wooden wheels at the base, each with a diameter of 6 meters. Since 2020, restoration work has been ongoing on the port crane, which was heavily damaged during the World War II. Ancient tomb. In the shadow of the blue doors of an ancient Ming Dynasty tomb in China, a mystery of the ages was hidden. Upon opening the gates, archaeologists encountered an unusually luxurious tomb dating back 400 years. The tomb, discovered during preparations for highway construction in Shaanxi province, impresses with its preservation and refined craftsmanship. Researchers confirmed that the tomb, dated to the Ming era, was the resting place of nobility. 2 luxurious wooden coffins with exquisite patterns and porcelain vessels testify to the high status of the deceased. The epitaphs hint at noble origins, and the magnificently decorated coffers indicate a connection to the royal court. Among the finds are furniture, writing instruments, and works of art, which emphasize the refined lifestyle of the elite of that time. Despite numerous hypotheses, the exact reasons for such luxury and the purpose of the tomb remain unknown, adding mystery to the history of the Ming Dynasty, a period of flourishing culture, art, and science in China. The largest meteorite on Earth. The mysteries of space have always fascinated people, and meteorites serve as evidence of mysterious visits from distant space to Earth. An example of such an incredible visitor is the Hoba meteorite, discovered in Namibia, which still amazes people with its size and history. Unlike the Tunguska meteorite, which left many questions and speculation, Hoba is tangible evidence of cosmic journeys to our planet. Weighing 60 tons, this giant piece of metal, adorned with ancient rust, now stands proudly in an amphitheater built especially for it, and is one of Namibia's main attractions. The story of the meteorite's discovery began in 1918, when farmer Jacobus Brits, while plowing the land, came across an unusual boulder. At first, he tried to uproot it, but after examining it closely, Brits discovered that it was an iron meteorite, whose composition was later determined to be 81% iron and 17% nickel. This discovery became a sensation, since little was known about meteorites at the time, and the farmer dreamed of hitting the jackpot. The issues of transporting the enormous visitor from space turned out to be so complicated that the idea of selling it had to be abandoned. Since then, the Hoba meteorite, whose weight has decreased over time to 63 tons due to chemical erosion and vandalism, has been placed under protection and recognized as a national monument. Today, Hoba not only amazes with its size, but also serves as a living lesson in history and astronomy, reminding us how small and yet important we are in this vast universe. And although tourists continue to cause some damage to it, each scratch is quickly covered by a layer of rust, as if nature itself erases the boundaries between the earthly and the cosmic. A chilling puzzle. Researchers have discovered that in prehistoric times, people in different parts of the world deliberately amputated fingers as part of religious rituals. This is evident from the analysis of cave art dating back 25,000 years in Spain and France, which shows handprints with missing fingers. Previously, it was assumed that such defects could have been the result of medical issues or creative vision. However, according to a group of scientists, these people may have deliberately cut off their own fingers in pursuit of supernatural assistance. Interestingly, such rituals were common in various cultures and on all continents. For example, the Dani people in New Guinea still practice similar rituals, amputating women's fingers after the death of loved ones. This supports the hypothesis that similar rituals existed in the Paleolithic era. Handprints with missing fingers have been found not only in Europe, but also in Africa, Australia, North and South America, and South and Southeast Asia, which indicates the widespread nature of this practice. Ancient curse tablets. At the bottom of a 2,500-year-old well in the Kerameikos district of Athens, archaeologists discovered 30 ancient curses engraved on lead tablets. With the text on these tablets, people in ancient times called upon the gods of the underworld to harm other people. These curses were ritual texts, usually scratched onto small lead objects. The ancient Greeks, as is well known, engraved curses on tablets and placed them in wells or graves to curse someone with whom they had serious disagreements. At a certain period in Athens, it was forbidden to place curse tablets in graves. However, wrongdoers came up with a strategy to secretly throw their curses into wells. In the well, archaeologists discovered numerous artifacts and water vessels, as well as coins and remnants of food. Since water, especially drinking water, was considered sacred, it was believed that each well had a nymph who protected the water, and angering this nymph could have serious consequences. That's why people would throw small vessels with liquids and other gifts into the well to appease these emotionally unstable deities. The owner of the terracotta army. Half a century ago, a unique discovery was made. The mausoleum of the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huangdi, was found. After years of research, the ruler's final resting place remains untouched. Scientists do not dare to disturb his peace. In 1974, when farmer Yan Jifa was digging a well with his brothers at the foot of Mount Lishan, his shovel hit something hard. That something turned out to be a fragment of a clay statue. This discovery led to an entire collection of artifacts, but the farmer was only able to receive a symbolic 10 yuan for his discovery. The archaeologists who took on the case soon discovered an army made of terracotta, which is believed to be the guardians of the great Qin Shi Huangdi. But the mystery of the tomb remains unsolved, as legends say that it is filled with mercury, which the emperor considered a magical elixir. Modern research has confirmed a high concentration of this element in the burial area. Nowadays, scientists are making plans on how to bypass the ancient traps and get inside the tomb. They are considering the possibility of using muons, subatomic particles, that will help to see what is hidden deep inside the tomb without disturbing its peace. The largest Anglo-Saxon cemetery in Wendover, Buckinghamshire, archaeologists working on the HS2 railway construction site discovered a giant Anglo-Saxon cemetery with rich burials from the 5th and 6th centuries. The cemetery contains 138 graves, including 141 inhumations, and 5 cremation burials, as well as traces of activity from the Neolithic, Bronze Age, Iron Age, and Roman period. Many of the burials contain brooches on the collarbones, indicating clothing such as cloaks and peplos. A pair of small square brooches, similar to the well-known Cheseldown brooch, were also found. Special attention was drawn to a woman buried with a large number of valuable items, including a glass bowl of Roman origin, copper alloy rings, a silver zoomorphic ring, brooches, and ivory objects. Some items may have been imported from abroad, including amber beads and various materials. 2 glass conical cups were also found, similar to vessels from northern France. This discovery provides a unique insight into the lifestyle and culture of Anglo-Saxon Britain. Ancient Jewish curses. In ancient times on Mount Ebal in Israel, archaeologist Adam Zertal discovered a lead tablet dating back to the mid-13th century BC. Recently, an international team of scientists, including Czech specialists, uncovered the secret of this tablet using X-ray tomography. Daniel Vavrick, a participant in the research, said that the text was written on a lead sheet, which was then folded to hide its contents. The size of the tablet is extremely small, only 2 centimeters in length and width. Previously, similar finds were opened mechanically, but this led to their damage. The new method made it possible to decipher the text without harming the artifact. Researchers have determined that the hidden text is written in Proto-Hebrew and dates back to approximately 1400 to 1200 BCE, making it the oldest known text in this language. The text contained ancient curses. One of them read, "You are cursed by the God Yahweh." This discovery is of great value to history and archaeology, proving the deep roots of written culture in this region. The treasure of a Buddhist shrine. In the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan, which is considered part of the ancient Indus Valley civilization and dates back to around 2600 BC, archaeologists discovered a hoard of copper coins about 2,000 years old. These coins were found among the ruins of a Buddhist shrine and are associated with the era of the Kushan Empire, which dominated from the 2nd century BC to the 3rd century AD. Archaeologist Sheikh Javed Ali Sinki explained that the shrine was built on the site of the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro about 1,600 years after it was abandoned. A total of between 1,000 and 1,500 coins were found. Some of them depict a Kushan king. This find is especially significant because these are the first artifacts discovered in the shrine since 1931. Some of the coins feature the image of a figure and symbols of the Hindu god Shiva, reflecting a combination of Buddhist and Hindu beliefs. Rate this video with a thumbs up or down while I prepare a huge selection of the most important and unusual archaeological discoveries of 2023 for you. Stay with us and tell your friends about us. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, everyone.